We have a crazy afternoon of news, and let's get started by talking about Donald Trump's latest diagnosis. This afternoon, we found out from the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt for the first time that Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a chronic vein insufficiency in his lower legs, which is a common condition for those who are over the age of 70. And recent bruising on his hand is attributed to frequent handshaking and aspirin use, according to the White House physician. Now, this wouldn't have happened but for independent news sites like myself calling out the fact that things looked a little unright. They didn't look right. His hand was had marks, was swollen, and he went to the doctors and he has this vein condition now. We haven't gotten any more information about it or how long he's had it. But remember, previous physician reports told the public that Donald Trump was completely healthy. This is the first time the public is learning about this. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, despite facing mounting pressure from allies in the public, he's not going to be appointing a special prosecutor in the Epstein case, with the White House saying that releasing more files, well, that's up to the Department of Justice, not the president. Before I continue, please consider subscribing to support my work by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. Your support fuels this work. Trump's dismissal of the Epstein file controversy as a, quote, hoax has sparked backlash from his own base, including hat-burning protests and growing calls from figures like Mike Johnson and Vice President Mike Pence, or former Vice President Mike Pence, for full document disclosures. Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon today revealed that four major banks flagged over $1.5 billion in suspicious Jeffrey Epstein transactions, many involving payments to women and wealthy clients, only after his 2019 arrest. Wyden is demanding now the public release of the confidential reports criticizing both the bank's delayed actions along with the administration's refusal to release more financial records of Epstein. Today, Senate Democrats tried to force senators to vote on releasing the Epstein files, and Senate Republican Markwayne Mullin blocked the resolution put forth by Democrat Ruben Gallego, calling it, quote, political theater. Immigration news, because we have a lot today. Medicaid officials under the Trump administration have allowed ICE access to personal health data, including addresses and social security numbers, to locate undocumented migrants. ICE officials arrested Madi Khanbazadeh, an Oregon chiropractor and father married to a U.S. citizen, while he was dropping off his child at a preschool. This is the first known federal immigration arrest at an Oregon school. A U.S. citizen went on MSNBC and military veteran who was detained by ICE, saying agents ignored his ID that he provided to him, broke his car window, forcibly removing him despite his repeated claims of innocence and citizenship. He said, quote, clearly it didn't matter that I was a citizen or a United States veteran. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is now under fire because, according to a new memo from TPM, he diverted disaster relief funds to hastily build the Alligator Alcatraz Migrant Detention Center, awarding contracts to political donors. Outrage is now growing because today we learned a 15-year-old Mexican boy with no criminal record was mistakenly detained at the facility, which is strictly meant for adults, as part of Trump and DeSantis' aggressive immigration deportation push. And today we learned that ICE deported approximately 100,000 people from January to June 24th. 70,000 were convicted criminals, mostly for traffic or immigration violations. Less than 1% had murder convictions, less than 2% had sex crime convictions, and nearly 30% had no criminal record. Today, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum visited Alcatraz in San Francisco, reviving plans to reopen it. An idea California Representative Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Emeritus, said, quote, is the stupidest initiative yet. The House of Representatives is currently scheduled to vote tonight or tomorrow on Donald Trump's $9 billion worth of cuts to public media and foreign aid. The Senate passed the measure last night. Congress has to pass it by tomorrow to avoid obligating the funds. Meanwhile, House Republicans have delayed a final vote on the spending cuts due to internal backlash over the Epstein files, with some Republican members pushing for a new resolution to appease their base before proceeding with the cuts for public media and foreign aid. Outrage has erupted in Eswatini and across Africa after the U.S. deported 5 foreign nationals convicted of serious crimes whose home countries refused re-entry to the small kingdom as part of Trump's broader strategy to offload, quote, unreturnable deportees. Republicans advanced Emile Beauvais' appellate court nomination despite a whistleblower allegation that he urged DOJ lawyers to ignore court orders. Trump's defense spending increase will add 26 megatons to carbon emissions, equal to emissions from 68 gas power plants. The U.S. Department of Justice is recommending a one-day, single-day sentence and 3 years of supervised release for Brett Hankinson, a former officer convicted of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights during the fatal 2020 raid, citing his clean record, lack of injuries caused, and psychological stress, despite the maximum possible sentence being life in prison. In addition, some good news. For the first time in over a century, Paris has opened the Seine River, I don't know how to pronounce it right, for public swimming after a $2.3 billion cleanup effort tied to the 2024 Olympics. At a Minnesota zoo, a rare wild horse foal named Marat, rejected by his mother after medical emergency, has been adopted by a domestic pony named Dallas. That's all the news right now. I'm sure there'll be more tonight, so I may have another report to you tonight or in the morning. So spread the word and subscribe to support my work by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation to Aaron Parnas.